A family and creative path of Saule and Alibay Bapanov started more than 45 years ago. A perfectly wonderful couple who are today outstanding Kazakhstani masters of tapestry, felt making and collections of clothes. They work together. At the same time, at the heart of their creative and family union, there is love. We have a remarkable opportunity to see the exhibition Heaven and Earth, which presents the creative work of the artists in the Museum Stories program.
Художников в программе музейной истории.
Saule, you and Alibay Bapanov have been a creative union, spouses for many years. What is the secret of the success of your creativity and your joint union? Mostly love. Initially love, and then the times lived together. Good times. Respect for each other and for your creativity.
Потом уважение к другу, своему творчеству, да? Вот этот, когда вот смесь.
This is a mix that works wonders. You just need patience. This is also art, to be able to live with a creative person. I think he is a brilliant artist. I don't tell him this, but I always praise him. When I watch his work, I also get a lot for myself.
Когда я его работы смотрю, я получаю для себя тоже много что.
Regarding the concept of the exhibition, I know that initially a different venue for the exhibition was proposed. When it became necessary to change the venue, at first it seemed that there will be not enough space for the works, and so a very unusual concept came up. Please tell us how you interpret it. In general, our Kasteyev museum is a very beautiful museum. I like it. I even participated in the construction of the museum. I carried this parquet. I was 16 years old. It was in 1974-75. I would dream, is it possible that my works will be exhibited in this museum? And my dream came true. I like it here because one can look at works from a distance, and some works need to be looked at from afar. When one looks at these works, one can see the ground floor. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Works from what period does the exhibition include? Some of the works are earlier ones, but they fit the topic. Basically, they are the works created over the last 2 years. This exhibition is declared as a personal exhibition of Alibay. But it seems to me, in my personal perception, Alibay and Saule are such a common phenomenon, a common entity. In this regard, the question is, how often are joint ideas born and how are they embodied in joint projects? And the second, is creativity an individual process or does it allow for creative interaction?
Знаете, вот я бы сказала, это индивидуальный. Но допускается.
You know, I would say individual, but joint work is allowed, because we are both artists. He sometimes consults with me. Of course, this is his exhibition, but I, as a wife, a colleague, have always supported him. An artist needs support. The Kazakhs, when Dombra players play tuskiiz, you would sometimes hear a kind of an encouraging cry from the audience, and the person who plays is inspired and goes on playing. The artist also needs this. When we see our young students, we are inspired that there are some, very few, who choose art for a profession. Without art, people are doomed to extinction. Therefore, I want to say, you always need to inspire, to support. This exhibition is his personal idea.
Всегда надо вдохновлять, поддерживать. Это выставка личной его идей.
A very important part of your life is devoted to teaching. How would you assess this experience for yourself? To what degree is it important for training a whole generation of tapestry and felt work in Kazakhstan?
Да. Вы знаете, мне повезло с преподавателями. В Алмате преподавал мне...
I was lucky with the teachers. In Almaty, I was taught by Boris Pak, Lebedev, and Nikolai Sychov. The most important teacher was Akrab Zhubanov. And in Moscow, I was also lucky. There were good teachers, famous artists. And you know, when I teach, I pay tribute to their work. I have no right not to teach. I have been teaching for 40 years.
Преподаю. Это очень, казахов говорят, преподавание это сауап по-казахски.
The Kazakhs say, teaching is sawab, it is useful. The artist, like a river, must flow.
Пропадет. Ну, художника как река, надо течь. Жизнь такова. Научить.
Life is like that. You have to teach. As for applied art, it is in the genes. My mother was a good craftswoman, a very creative person. She could bring up children and weave carpets. I didn't want to be an applied artist. I wanted to be a painter. But apparently, the Almighty made it so that I continued my mother's craft.
Продолжила материнское ремесло дальше. А теперь моя дочка продолжает. Поэтому...
And now my daughter follows suit. So the path that life dictates to us is a good one. No need to resist. I think that thanks to my teachers, I am continuing this art. Alibay, your personal exhibition has opened in the Abylkhan Kasteyev State Museum of Arts, and this is a wonderful event. You named your exhibition Heaven and Earth. And in fact, these are two key basic concepts of Tangrian culture. Tell us about the concept of the exhibition and why exactly these two phenomena.
Художникам, когда тем более в моем возрасте, бывает иногда.
An artist, especially at my age, sometimes has crisis. I always draw intuitive strength from heaven and earth. Many themes of my works, myths, legends, themes of the Kazakh's world outlook. All this is connected with heaven and earth. This is probably where the name comes from.
Все это вот как-то связано с небом и землей. И, наверное, отсюда название это.
As for the thematic content of the works, when you start working, do you know what the final result will be? Or does creativity involve an element of spontaneity?
Да, у меня спонтанно. Утром.
Yes, in my case, it is spontaneous. In the morning, I get up and think, I have to go to the workshop. We need to get started. And many works begin to change along the way. What dictates, works more in my works is intuition, the past experience. All of these together. The signs of Turkic culture very often appear in your compositions. Such archetypes as the rider, the world mountain, the world tree, the image of a woman, the image of a child. And they all boil down to ornamental stylizations. I would put it that way. Why are these nomadic symbols? Why exactly they? And how in general is the ancient Turkic culture rethought in your contemporary creativity? In general, lately I have been digging in history of where my family, the clan Karakoyli, is from. If translated into Russian, it means a black sheep. Who are the Karakoylis? It turns out that they are ancient Oghuz. The place where I was born is Sirdarya region. The Karakoylians came from the banks of the Sirdarya.
И потом пошли вот эти карагылдинцы.
They had a state of their own. They were ancient Turks. The capital was in Tabriz. They lived somewhere in Armenia, in Azerbaijan. They conquered part of Iran.
Азербайджан, часть Ирана завоевал и тут жили.
And they lived there. I didn't know about that. But I was always curious about antiquity, petroglyphs, ornaments. Ornaments are a kind of abstracted thinking of the Kazakhs. Probably this influence comes from there. It is felt in many of my works. This is just one of the works that represents your experiments in combining tuskiiz with acrylic. And acrylic becomes a tool for the birth of the image. Here is a very unusual, intriguing name, a forgotten tulpa. Tell us about the idea behind this piece.
Вот этот ковер, оно как бы уже свой отслужил, и надо было его...
This carpet has served its purpose, and it was time to throw it away. It was torn in some spots, there was dirt in others, it was worn out. Some paint got in. I took it, I felt sorry for it. So I washed it properly. I looked, and an image of a horse appeared to me. I used the fringe to turn it into a mane. There is the head. I used that part to make it look like a tail. Well, this is a forgotten tulpa. He was once a strong tulpa. Here is an order, all sorts of awards are hanging. And it is no longer needed, just like our carpets, because many people buy carpets made abroad, and our handmade carpets are forgotten. Because of this, many of our masters do not work. Handmade carpets are not made now. All these thoughts and feelings haunted me, and I created this piece.
Мастера, не работают почти, ручные ковры не делают. Все это скопилось у меня, и я вот создал такое произведение.
This composition, A Conversation with Heaven, reflects in fact on the relationship between man and the world around him. And what is absolutely wonderful here, when I first saw this work, its image was born in my mind gradually. And suddenly, at some point, when you understand the key to the composition, when this image appears, a figurative image is born almost from an abstract form. An absolutely amazing moment of recognition takes place in art. It's amazing how the idea of such works is born. Does the material lead to it, or is there an understanding of what the composition will be like?
Наверное, мне вот когда я создавал это произведение, все-таки...
Probably when I was creating this piece, heaven helped me. Initially, I wanted to create a big moon.
Потом постепенно я сделал вот лицо человеческое.
Вот он, профиль человеческий, он прям
читается.
Then the profile of a human gradually turned out, some kind of a symbolic head like this. I originally thought it would hang vertically. Vertically? Yes, vertically, but now it is hanging horizontally, and it's good. It turns out that the person practically threw his head back and fixed his gaze at this bottomless dome of the sky. I felt it all intuitively, but I didn't know how to name it. We take inspiration from heaven, and the universe helps us.
Вдохновение с неба, и Вселенная помогает нам.
A black lamb is one of the symbols that often appears in your works. How was the idea of this work born?
У нас вот в Кызылординской области сильный свет и вот тень.
We have a strong contrast of light and shadow in the Kazakh region. Even the eyes had to look straight. I took the laconic, white and black. I made a lying lamb.
И я правильно сделал лежащего барашка.
But something in this piece didn't suit me. Then I began to search this way and that, but something still didn't suit me. Then I started to break it.
Но все равно не устраивал. Потом я его начал ломать,
blurring over.
Записывать, портить начал. И потом я увидел, что я сделал.
Began to blur it over, to spoil. And then I saw what I did and I liked it. It was difficult for me to give it a name. Then I remembered that our elders would always say, "What is there turning black? Karayha nemine." So I named my work a black lamb. Here is a lamb, its body, then a bucket, something else. We have tabaks, dishes. There's a lot of stuff here.
Табак,
Блюдо.
блюда там, в общем. Здесь много всего.
Behind us there is a wonderful composition and a very symbolic one, which in fact denotes the source, the beginning of your joint work. We are proud that the work Youth, created in the mid-80s, is part of the collection of the Abylkhan Kasteyev State Museum of Arts. Tell us about your youth and youth in the tapestry.
Да, мы после окончания Сурикского, делали несколько заказов и...
After graduating from the Surikov Institute, we worked on several orders and worked on this tapestry.
Где-то 5 метров гобелен это было. И...
It was the first time we worked on such a big one, 2 by 5 meters. This is where our solid academic education is felt.
И это...
At that time, Saule and I worked together actively, weaving.
Ткали вместе.
I sometimes look, and it is clear that Alibay was a good draftsman in the Surikov Institute. He has good knowledge. We started when there was a young deficiency, but we found it somehow. It was very difficult, but we wove with such zeal. I was breastfeeding my baby daughter. It was difficult, but those were the brightest good times.
Мы начинали в 86 году.
We started in 1986, sketch cardboard, and in 1987 we have woven it. We lived in a small apartment. The work was too big, and therefore it consisted of 2 parts, connected and sewn together. So many years have passed now, and it needs a slight restoration. But the most important thing is that here, in this work, there appeared those very inclinations, the very principles that were subsequently revealed, so that your name became a true brand of contemporary Kazakhstani art. The work pre-holiday fuss is just an active period of experimentation and search, of combining oil painting or including in oil paintings fragments of tuskiiz, which the artist took from his daughter at the time of her creation of a fashion collection using ancient tuskiiz. The remaining fragments became compositional elements to be included in the painting. An absolutely wonderful work that I really like it. It is called Pre-Holiday Fuss, because this work shows the state of an expectation of a holiday, some kind of anxiety associated with receiving guests. There is a cauldron and a jug here, because the hostess is preoccupied with setting the table. Images of a dog, a horse, a flying bird also appear here. In this bustle, her gaze grabs everything and focuses on everything. Immediately, the utmost concentration allows the woman, the hostess, the keeper of the hearth, to create that wonderful dastarhan, the comfort, warmth and harmony that fills the Kazakh traditional house. And of course, the work was created with a special mood, a state of expectation of a holiday. Stay tuned to the next episodes of the Museum Stories on Kazakh TV and subscribe to our YouTube channel and social media.